In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, WAOK and the Mental Space presents the series, The Mind Matters, with Dr. Adrienne. This series will delve into the evolving landscape of mental health, focusing on how individuals and communities can navigate the challenges and find support in uncertain times.
Welcome to Mind Matters with Dr. Adrienne. And so for Mental Health Awareness Month, we are celebrating all things mental health. And today, I have the privilege of having a conversation for sisters only, the Women of Audacy. That's right. You getting it live and unfiltered. The ladies of WAOK and V103. And so today we're going to be talking all things sisterhood. This is unscripted and unfiltered. And so trust me, I don't know what's coming out of their mouths either. But what you can rest assured is that what you will get today is pure authenticity, because we don't have time for masks. So, ladies, welcome. Hello. Welcome. All right, so we're going to start with you all introducing yourselves first, and then I have a little information that I want to share. Then we're going to get all into all of this. So, first to my left.
Okay, well, my name is Danielle Davis, and I am the producer of Voices in the Street Unfiltered on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Hello, I am Miss Eclectic, also known as Chantel. I am the producer of On Point with Wandalyn Stokes. Also am the host of Good Vibes with Miss Eclectic and the producer for Real Estate 101.
I'm Desiree, a.k.a. Desi T, from Voices in the Streets Unfiltered on WAOK, and I also work in sales and digital, so I do a little bit of everything.
Little bit of everything.
Hey, my name is Danny B. I'm the Midday personality on V103, and I also do digital for V103.
Hi, I'm Joyce Littell. I'm the brand manager for WAOK, and I still host The Quiet Storm on V103.
Well, hi, beautiful people. How are you all? I am Janet, and I am all things admin and your director of First Impressions.
Well, I appreciate you ladies for being here. I've got to put on my glasses, and they are extremely dirty, but I'm going to put them on anyway, because without them, I cannot see. So the theme for Mental Health Awareness Month is where to start mental health in a changing world. And so I asked you all to be a part of this conversation because for me, I don't have any sisters. So who here has sisters? Joyce has a lot of them. The littles are many. The littles are many. The littles are many.
So don't even come with no foolishness.
Right. And it starts with Mama Little, because she don't play. But I don't have any sisters other than sorority sisters. So who else here does not have a biological sister?
Same.
Yes,
I have a brother, not a sister.
Yeah, I have a brother, not a sister.
I have two sisters, but we're 18 and 17 years apart.
Yeah, so I have a little brother. We're 20 years apart, so it's so really like them your mamas.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I understand. So, Janet, what about you?
I have one sister, and I have one sister, and we are 8 years apart, and we are two totally different people.
Two totally different people. So, Joyce and her sisters are probably like the closest sisters that I know. Like, they look alike, and they all like each other most of the time, because they hang out together, and I think they would literally fight somebody.
Yes, come with some foolishness.
Yeah, come with some foolishness. And Joyce is the baby.
Close.
She's
I'm
the baby.
I'm the baby, and we are extremely close. Recently, we traveled as sisters, and we do that quite often.
Yeah.
And it was just 5 of us. I have 4 sisters older than I, and we love each other.
Yeah. So I want to shape this conversation, because we are going to talk a little bit about what it feels like to be a radio personality as a black woman, because we are women of color. But we're also going to be talking about sisterhood. And I don't just mean your biological sisters. I'm talking about just as black women, and sometimes some of the things that we experience as black women. So, Black women often face unique challenges in balancing professional and personal relationships due to the intersection of race, gender, and cultural expectations. Women in the radio industry face unique mental health challenges due to a variety of factors, including workplace dynamics, societal expectations, and industry-specific pressures. Women in radio may encounter discrimination and sexual harassment, which can lead to stress, anxiety, and a sense of isolation. These negative experiences can affect job satisfaction and mental well-being. The radio industry often involves unconventional hours and high demands, making it challenging for women to balance work and personal life. This can lead to burnout and impact personal and relationships. Radio personalities are often public figures subject to scrutiny and criticism. Women may face sexist remarks, body shaming, or personal attacks, leading to self-esteem issues and increased stress. In some cases, women in radio might find limited representation at higher levels and fewer mentorship opportunities. This lack of support can make it hard to navigate career paths and deal with workplace challenges. The pressure to constantly prove oneself in a male-dominated field can lead to imposter syndrome, causing women to doubt their skills and achievements, which can affect their mental health. Women often face gender-based pay gaps, leading to financial stress and feelings of being undervalued, which can contribute to anxiety and dissatisfaction with their careers. The radio industry can be volatile, with frequent changes in programming, management, and audience demands. This instability can create stress and uncertainty about job security. Addressing these challenges requires a multifaceted approach that includes workplace policies, promoting gender equality, access to mental health resources, robust support systems, mentorships, and efforts to improve work-life balance. So, those are some of the things that we might face in this industry as women, right?
We might.
We might.
Yeah.
But
Off 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right. But so there's the professional side and then there's the personal side. And so one of the things that I recognize is that I often hear women talking about just how difficult it is to have a sister circle, which I found interesting because I had my sorority sisters, I had people I went to FAMU with, I have friends that I grew up with. But as I am getting older, I'm recognizing that, yes, it is challenging for some women to bond with other women, and a piece of that has to do with envy. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to know from you all if you have experienced any of that. And we're not holding back, so all this breathing and sighing and that, like, just let it go, and let's talk about it, yeah. Because Janet looked like she over there sitting on ready.
I am.
I know.
You know what? I don't know if I've experienced any envy because I
Maybe
don't
not
really
personally.
I don't pay it no
You're
attention.
just so nice.
I am, one to the other side, but I don't pay it any attention because I know I'm different. Baby, I'm different. I'm all the way different.
But do you recognize it when you see it?
Do I recognize the envy?
Yeah.
No, because I'm a person about aura. So you only have a few minutes to grab me.
Right.
And if you don't grab me, peace out.
Yeah.
A-town down. I'm gone.
Yeah.
So I don't recognize it. If I don't get that aura that you're okay, then I can't be bothered.
Well, the other thing is that sometimes you don't recognize what you're not. And so that's why sometimes people don't see certain behaviors coming from people, because if you're not that way, if you're not a jealous person, it's hard for you to recognize that somebody's jealous of you.
I think I have been in the industry longer than all of you that are here, and I would honestly say is yes, I have witnessed it throughout my 40-plus year career at the various stations that I've worked. I think because it's so difficult for women in this industry to get the same amount of success that their colleagues of the other sex get, then it's like, let me hold on. I got this piece. Let me hold on to everything that I have. And if you have no intentions, which that has been my life, I don't have intentions of coming in, taking over anything. I come in to gain success for myself. That yes, I have experienced that you wouldn't give me information because you thought that I was coming to take
Your
yours.
job, right.
And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to hold on to mine.
Right.
But to answer your question from a 40-year veteran, yes, ma'am. I have experienced that, and I can also answer the fact that that's not my mentality. So it was difficult for me to recognize it.
Yeah.
But I'm not stupid,
Yeah.
so I did recognize it, and so I have to be perfectly honest. I have in my career more men as friends as I have had women.
Yes.
Men. They were easy to talk to. They were easy to get information from. They were very supportive of what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
They gave you. I mean, it's just. It's sad, but it's reality that I can put 10 of my buddies on this side as men. I might have 2, 3-ish, on this side.
Right.
And I thank you for this conversation, because not only will it not that it will help in our industry, but I'm hoping that it will help every industry. Because if you change these seats and put education, if you change these seats and put in any profession, it will probably be the same kind of conversation.
Yeah.
To piggyback off of you, when I first got into the industry, my mentor was a man. My best friend, my first business partner, and everything was a man. It just felt, because it was a male-dominated industry, that I was going to be able to get all of the information that I needed from them, and they would be able to help me kind of get through with certain gems and whatnot. So I found myself to gravitate towards more men in media than I did in women in media. And it wasn't until maybe last year or this year where I found certain spaces like Women in Radio, which is a community on social media where they have all these women in radio, and we've had a conference, and you're able to talk to these women, and you're actually in a space where everybody wants to help each other. I think we're now in 2024, everybody is kind of learning that there is a space for everybody. So when it comes down to the women's side of things, I feel like it's just a little bit more easier than it was when I even started 10 years ago.
You would not want to know. 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You would not want to know.
I can't imagine.
Okay. Even about 5.
Piggybacking on pretty much what both of them said, when Ms. Joyce started talking, it literally jogged my memory, because this has been like the biggest gripe of me for my whole career, is that I'm a black woman, and I've been eager to learn from black women because I have so many black women role models in this, and none of them want to help me.
Right.
None of them wanted to help me. The people who helped me in my career were white men, then black men, then white women. Then black women are like, girl, bye.
Right. But that's real. And so that's why I felt like we had to have this conversation today, because we keep trying to act like it does not exist, but it really does. You can walk into a store and literally a sister sometimes will not even acknowledge your presence. And I'm like, I'm speaking to everybody, hey girl, hey. 'Cause I'm happy to be here, I'm glad to be alive. And it's like, what is that about? Like, I wanted to cuss then, but we're too early in it. So I'm gonna save some of that. But that's what I literally want to say, like, why? Like, what is this about? Like, deal with your stuff, and then, okay, all right, so come on over here.
Well, I wanted to share my experience was a little bit different. I received a little, I will call it hate, when I was at another company. I was, you know how when you start, you get a full-time job somewhere else, and then when you make it, you ease your way into the career that you love. Well, at the company where I was working at before, when the ladies found out that I got a job here in media, that's when the hate started, because I was moving up and out of that. I call that place a dark hole of broken dreams, and I mean, it really was. You know how
broken dreams.
That's what I called the place. It was like a cesspool of broken dreams and hope, and it's like they get comfortable and they give up on their, what they really want to do, because they get comfortable in a job that, it's just easier than fighting for the career that you want. And so when I started moving up the ladder, then I was like, okay, well, these ladies are not my friends. I thought they were, because we would have like little group sessions to say, go girl, do your, do what you love. And then when I started moving up, that's when they just they don't talk to me anymore, and that's fine. That's fine.
Trauma bonds are real. And so I had a conversation with somebody recently, and for those of you who don't know, I am a psychotherapist of 33 years. I was one of the first black females licensed in the state of Georgia. I was having a conversation with somebody about trauma bonds today, and he said, as long as the people around you are at the same level with you, things are fine. Because your stuff can stink just like their stuff can stink. So everybody's stuff stinking. But the moment you get to dash on a little perfume and you out smelling them, then it's a problem. They don't want to deal with you. And so people bond over traumas, bad situations, negative things happening, PTSD, all these things. But when you start to try to elevate and get your self-help into another place, a lot of times people can't handle that. Yeah.
I think that's why I still love being in it after 40 years for the Desi T's, for the DJ Miss Eclectic and Danielle, because they work under me to have a female that will be there to push them and to give them all of these 40 years that I can give them, because I don't have a jealous bone in my body, because I feel that whatever success you have to work at it, and none of it is going to come easy anyway.
Right.
And I think that's my purpose now, is to make sure that whatever they got going on up in here for as a dream and an aspiration and a goal, what you need, how can I help to encourage them to pursue it, because it's not an overnight thing. I'm still working hard at it 40 years later, only because it's a joy. I could go somewhere and sit down, but I feel that I should be in this position so they have someone that they can come to honestly and say, this is what I want, how can I get there?
And that's a blessing, I think, to be under your tutelage, I should say.
Absolutely.
Because I would say my first mentor in radio was a man, but to come here and for Ms. Joyce to say, what is it? What can I do for you? You do so much for us. What can I do for you? I've never had a manager say that. So I can say I've seen both aspects. I've seen the jealous and the envy, but I've also seen the strong, confident women who, like you said, have no jealous bone in their body to actually lead me. So I'm grateful for that most of all.
Yeah. And my experience was, don't really know how. I still don't know how we connected. I literally don't know. And I mean,
I think it was Janet.
Was it?
Janet was helping me produce. Janet was helping me produce Love and Relationships, and I think she ran up across you, and she said, "I saw this lady, I think." And she made the first phone call.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? She did. And I saved her number in my phone. I did. Listen, first of all, I am.
Where we going after this?
Wait a minute. Janet, I'm 3 from 60. So sometimes some things get tucked away and you just, but that's exactly right. You just, so now I will say, I don't know where you saw me. But from the very first time though, and when you allowed me to come on to Love and Relationships, and I was like, okay, I never thought about radio. What I had prayed for, though, I asked God to give me a platform to help me heal the world. That was what I asked him for. And I was like, who asked that? Like, who's in their room praying for that? But that was the ask. And so from there, the relationship, that was 8-9 years ago.
Yeah,
and so
or
here we
longer.
are today.
It was longer.
And it might be longer. And so now here we are today. Yeah, because I done been through having some grandkids, getting divorced, finding the love of my life, and all of that. So
But if you don't mind me interjecting, something similar happened with Wandalyn. Wandalyn Stokes and I wish she was here today.
Yeah.
She and I were in college together. I was a class older, but we were in college together. And we developed a friendship in college because she was over at WCLK and I was working at WCLK. So we developed a friendship. I had not seen Wandalyn in 25 plus years. And she popped up on Instagram right when I was offered a position. I said, what you doing? Is this you? 25 years had gone past us because I'm like, I got to do whatever I can to get us in this thing and to help make it work. So if you are one who could recognize talent, you hold on to talent. It might not present itself at that moment, but it's back there.
Well, things happen the way they're supposed to happen. That's why when people are envious of people or they don't want to share information. I remember when I first became a therapist and I had to figure it out on my own.
Is it time now?
It's time. And here's the thing. And so to your point, people say, oh, I'll help you, or just call me. Tell me what you need. Oh, let's go to lunch. And then they not answering the phone.
And then they come back when you got your interview with so and so and who and who. Hey, girl, we went. Girl, bye. No, but I did want to piggyback on what Miss Joyce was saying, because me being a newer person here at Odyssey Atlanta, I honestly expected the experience to be terrible, just because I've been through the ringer as far as radio is concerned, and then as far as my dealings with women in radio and et cetera. I was just like, okay, this is a top 10 market, this V103. So everybody about to be like, who is this? It's like, you know what I'm saying? That's honestly what I thought. But I was there at Winterfest, and one of the first people I met was Miss Janet, and she was just so nice and so welcoming. And she's like, Sugar, I got you. Like, whatever you got, whatever you need. Then I met Miss Joyce, and I think because of the women that have been placed here, like you said, nothing happens by accident. Because of the women that God placed here, I feel like that trickles down.
It does.
Because my interactions with, China, who's the producer and an on-air personality here, my interactions with Aaron, my interaction with these ladies have been so positive to where I've literally been singing it from the rooftops. Like, the girls here are so nice, and they're so nice, and they invite me to things, and they come and support me. Like, I never have experienced that in my career.
But that's about grown women who are mature and secure enough in who it is that they are in themselves.
And then it's also a part of leadership.
Yeah.
I think if leadership gives that kind of aura, like, hey, because I remember telling Danielle, because she produces the show, I said, if you all have not gone somewhere and had some food and some drinks to get to know each other, the show won't work.
Right.
And now they've been together for 100 years because they had the time to grow in that space and get to know each other. Yeah. But if someone who have traveled through that is not sharing that kind of information, then they won't know to do that. Yeah. And I think that was back in the day, that no one was telling you that these people can really help you. Yeah. People were telling, this is yours, you got to do the best you can with what you got, and and you had to claim it all. Right. But I think in this day and time, we can't do anything by ourselves.
No, we can't do anything by ourselves, but again, it's the more secure you are in yourself and who it is that you are, then you understand you walking in your purpose. You can't walk in anybody else's purpose. Yeah.
Now, I 100% think that the reason why I'm seeing a lot of women are kind of coming together now, or at least my mentality, is that we all can help each other. Yeah. Like, there's each and every one of us do something different outside of radio that we can somehow help each other. Right. So why am I going to sit here and try to be jealous or envious or beefing or whatever it is, or
but
any of that stuff?
That's because you like who you are.
That is true.
That's because you like who you are.
I do. That is true. But I also want to have space for all of us. As far as us helping each other. I think that's the only way that we can.
What's your birthday?
October 7th.
I knew it. I could have said either Libra or Cancer.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
they want to save the world and want everybody to hold hands and kumbaya.
I do.
I gave birth to one of y'all. I know. Yeah.
But like Danielle. So Danielle, honestly, it took a minute for me because like I said, I work in two different spaces in radio. I work on the sales side which is a whole nother side
Yeah.
of radio. And then obviously in the more creative space. And Danielle was really my first person that I was able to like really bond with.
Yeah.
And now it's to the point where we talk every single day. And it's not even about radio that we talk every day. You know
It's
what I'm
a-
saying?
it's a sisterhood.
It's a sisterhood. And like she knows.
Not to mention that y'all in the same sorority.
Yeah, we in the same part too.
Well,
You know.
yeah.
But
Shout out to all the members of
Yes.
the Divine Nine.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Clean
you.
it
Thank
up,
you. Thank
clean
you.
it up.
But yeah. Danielle has literally been like a backbone, because sometimes there has been moments of like, I don't think I'm doing well. Joy's gonna let me go. I'm not gonna be on the and Danielle be like, Desiree, that's not
Chill
the
out.
case. Yeah, and that's not the case.
Being your
and,
cheerleader.
and then when I
Yeah.
talk to Miss Joyce, she just always puts this fire in me to like just do better and want to do better. And she has really been my first mentor in radio. And so I
Mine
just
too.
remember my first couple conversations with her was during the pandemic, and like the way I would just feel getting off the phone with her and like immediately texting my friends like, I just got off the phone with Joyce Littell.
I know, right?
She just dropping all these gems, and I'm just so happy, and I'm so grateful.
Love to say, this is Joyce Littell of the
Yes.
Quiet Storm.
So my experience, at least on this side of radio, has been great as far as the women who have been placed in my life. So I'm very appreciative of Danielle and Miss Joyce.
But that has come now. When I spoke earlier, I've been in it for 40 years.
Yeah.
So the transition now is what you have said, going to the different women in radio, different platforms and things like that. It has changed in that sense. But 40 years ago, it was a totally different
experience,
situation. Because here's the other thing. 40 years ago, you only had radio.
Right.
That was
Right,
it.
right,
You didn't
right.
have, social media
social
platforms.
media,
You didn't have digital
YouTube.
space in which you can do things whether you like it or not. It was all terrestrial radio. And so to not have that support, it really messed with your mind. Where were you 40 years ago to have this kind of conversation
was I?
to help push, to help push
Baby,
careers?
listen, somewhere I shouldn't have been,
But I
because if I
love
could
this
do it
space
over
now.
again, I'd have been somewhere else.
I love this space now because you all do show that. You all do show how you love and support, each other.
Yeah.
And you show a whole different type of energy. I know I wear Miss Eclectic out. I know she look at the phone and say, what she want now?
But that's why it was important to me to have a cross-generational conversation.
Right.
Because
Young as them. Why you got me on the phone?
look, first of all, we sprinkled up in here.
It's a good mix. It's a good mix.
You see what side we sitting on.
Sprinkled in here together. But some of us are old enough to be y'all's mama. I think I'm old enough to be your mama. I think I am. How old are you?
I'm 36. I'm 36.
Oh, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I would have been fast, but I mean, kind of fast. So I've been 22? Yeah, I think I had my first kid at about 22. Well, no, you're my brother's age. And so I think it's important because we bring something different to the table than you all have probably experienced, even in terms of whatever your industry was, just how the times were. Because most professions are male-dominated professions.
Right.
Media, journalism, doctors, lawyers, everything has been male-dominated, which is crazy because women outnumber men about 24-1 on the planet. But that's part of why women are in competition with each other. Because when you talk about a romantic relationship, and you got to go up against 23 women for that one man, then that breeds competition. So when you are not secure in who you are, then you got a whole nother set of issues. So I wanted to switch gears and go to a conversation about the Divine Nine, because I think everybody up here except for Janet might be in a sorority.
I'm in my own 9.
That's right. That's right. She is one of 9. She's in the 1-9. And so the rest of us are members of the Divine Nine. We don't have to say which one. But I recently saw where somebody I went to FAMU with said, she made a comment about, I guess I will have to say it. She said AKAs, Joyce. I saw wrong.
Okay.
And so she said, just because you put on pearls and pink don't make you pretty. And so I said to her, no, but I said to her, I said, you're right. I said, and here's the thing. The organizations shouldn't make the person. The person should help add value to the organization. So putting any letters on your chest is not what makes you great. Going anywhere, working anywhere, all those things, you're going to be who you are. Nasty folk are nasty folk. It doesn't make a difference what they put on and how they try to cover it up. That's a piece of who they are. And so when you encounter unsisterly women, whether it's in your church, because them church people that's unsisterly, them church people that's unsisterly,
them church people don't make you leave church.
They'll make you leave church. But whether it's in your church, whether it's at an event, a part of another organization, when you encounter women who are unsisterly, what's your response to it? Even in the workplace, because y'all, listen, some of us up here have crossed the border. We don't have to worry about that monthly time no more. But it's some other ones who still have to worry about that. And that's a real thing, because what happens is women, our physiological response to having a menstrual cycle is you start to have them around the same time. And a lot of people don't know that. So when you're working with a group of women and it's like, is everybody on their period? Yep, they probably are. Because it's a physiological response that happens to us. So how do you respond to unsisterly women? And you can just pick a place. If I encounter one in church.
I mean, I've encountered it in D9. So I mean, when it comes down to it, you just have to kind of recognize that you're not like them.
That's right.
And so even though they are being unsisterly, that doesn't mean I have to be unsisterly either. So it's literally taking the high road a lot of the times, especially if you're dealing with some who may have come before you.
Absolutely.
You know how that can go.
Who's still trying to act like you're online. Like, go sit down. Let me pull this life membership card out on you. I know you got 95 years in, but I got 55. So here we go. Yeah.
So, you just kind of you got to read the room and see how it is and kind of know who you're dealing with, whether it be, sorors that you might know or not know. Some can still be unsisterly. And so you just have to, again, that's not me. That's not who I am. And I'm not even going to treat you like that. So I'm still going to put on the face that I'm supposed to put on and still be nice Des. That's just what it is. And that's how I've always operated in that particular space.
Well, I can speak from an unsisterly situation. And mine was I've had one in workplace and church. However, in the workplace, I just, as Des said, took the high road. I treated the person with the same respect that I did before you did the things that you did, because I'm not going to change Janet. Janet, however, is...
Your character is not situational.
That is correct, because I loved me before going in there, and I'm going to leave me walking right back out that studio. However, I did treat that person now with a long-handled spoon, as we would say in Jamaica. So those extra advantageous things that I do out my way, you no longer got them. Now, you were blessed to get a good morning and a bye-bye.
And a good evening.
I might have asked you about your daughter and your husband, but that was the extent, because I still serve a Christ who I have to answer to. So your behavior does not negate my relationship with Christ, because he is much greater than you.
That's right.
In regards to the church, I did say unnice words, and I was trying not to cuss. I did say not nice words, and I left the church. And I said them on the parking lot because I had enough.
You said them in the parking lot.
And I got in the car and I drove off.
And you drove off.
And I ain't been back to that church since.
Yeah. And that's why that conversation about church hurt is so important, though, because sometimes some things can take place in a place that you think is safe, and it's supposed to be comforting, even work. And it can happen sometimes, and it can taint you and make you feel like, I ain't doing this. I'm going to sit over here in this corner by myself and not be bothered. But we're going to talk about how do we go and grab the people that are experiencing the hurt, even the hurt that we haven't caused. So we're going to come back to that. Y'all just remind me.
Oh, no, I was just going to respond to what they were saying. I pick my battles. I take the high road a lot. They've seen me. I just like, okay, I'm going to just walk away. But sometimes people poke the bear. They poked the bear, and they haven't seen me. Well, she might have seen me go off a little bit, Desi, but no.
Because I have never.
It takes a lot. But I did have a young lady who, in the workplace who did poke the bear a little too much, and she wasn't expecting me to go off.
Yeah. Sometimes people take your kindness for weakness.
Exactly. And I feel like they take, because I'm kind all the time, and they take it for weak. But it's like, once you poke that bear and it comes out, and then I deal with you accordingly. After I snap, okay, what did we learn today? Okay.
What's your lesson
How
in
we
this?
going to
What's your
proceed?
lesson in this?
Are we going to keep working together on that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, she took the words out of my mouth after you poke the bear enough, and then the roars, and then you play victim, and that's the issue that I have. Because you can be very nice and continue. What is going on? Don't do it, man. Like that.
And I don't know about
She
her.
misunderstood.
She is a misunderstood soul. She means so
need to go
well.
and
I feel like
Google
she
her.
means well.
I do too. I feel like
so
she's just that
hard.
person who's all political all the time. You just want them to have a good vibe sometimes. Anyway,
Sometimes you need something other than a good vibe.
you need.
Okay.
Wait, this is going so far.
Oh,
You was there.
Listen, y'all, sometimes some things that's wrong with some of our sisters, that is it. They've not been touched and won't touch themselves. And so you not in connection with yourself, and you ain't letting nobody else get in connection with you.
Let's see, click
And you
this face.
got cobwebs, and I'm just saying.
How did we get here?
Sometimes I got
She does relationship talk too.
Listen. I'm just saying.
I don't even know. Okay,
You don't even know how to come back from that one.
Ain't no coming back from that.
Understand this.
Sometimes some of y'all need some touching. That's all I got to say. They need some self-love and some love from somebody else. Yeah. I mean, and especially at a certain age. Let's talk about sex. As
Why you
women.
look at me? Why you say that? We can talk about sex.
No, hallelujah. My mama gonna watch this. Mama, I am.
Well, my mama gonna watch it too, but we all got it because somebody had sex. I'm just saying.
But see, that's the problem. I feel like that's the problem. We were not raised to openly talk about sex, and it seems like so taboo to everybody. That's the reason why I started Passion in Poetry, is because we are so afraid of what someone would think if we start talking about sex. You want to talk about sex? Come on.
Talk about sex.
Come right on.
Yeah, and so
I like them.
I don't mind talking about sex.
I'm sorry. You got a whole husband. Okay, well, let's say I like him young. Don't be saying I like him young. That's like a pool
I've
of them.
had them young. I mean, my youngest has been 22, 23.
How old were you?
I might have been in my 40s.
Yeah.
I might have been in my 40s.
So bless your heart.
No, bless his heart.
Right, but I'm just saying he was good for one thing. Cause I know he probably on the videos and everything else, but he was good for that one thing.
Yeah.
He was good for that one thing. Ching.
That's why she stay happy.
Don't get yourself in trouble. So y'all got quiet over
I
here.
did,
Is
and I
it
don't
okay,
mind. I don't
good.
mind. I don't mind talking about sex.
Right.
Actually,
Because it's a natural conversation.
It's a natural
natural
conversation.
conversation.
So my mom is actually from Guam. She's Guamanian and Filipino.
Okay.
So it never was really taboo to like talk about sex. Like I remember at one point in high school, I remember vividly with the situation. I went to her and we talked about if it was good or if it was bad, or if I had a bad kiss or a good kiss. And like I remember having those conversations with her. Yeah, and so even recently. I just moved, and so I just put up my bed, like a bed frame, and she was there, and she was like, to make sure you don't have sex on that side because it's a little
crickety.
Don't do it too, don't be too bouncy over there. So the conversation about sex it's never been, I mean, sometimes I can be like, oh, okay, I don't know if I want to really talk about that. I don't like saying particular words when it comes down to certain things, but I don't mind having the conversation about sex.
You know, as you get older, as you all get older, you're going, so women hit their sexual peak much later than men, which is why a lot of times you see older women with younger men because the men their age can't keep up. That's not my testimony, but thank goodness. I'm just saying, but sometimes that's the case. And so we don't have these conversations. I remember my mother she was telling this story. This was some Christmases ago. But she was telling this story about how she taught me about sex. And she said she had these encyclopedias. So there sits my brother, 20 years younger than me, same mom and dad. And so we're all sitting around the table and we drinking plenty of champagne and tequila, right? And so my mother's like, yes. And I had this book of encyclopedias and we had this conversation. So he's looking at me, he was like, she did? And so I was like, no. And then she said, and when he came along 20 years later, I used the same encyclopedia. And I was like, she did? And he was like, no. And so we were raised strict Catholic. Wasn't nobody talking. The rule was you don't have sex. Mm-hmm. So nobody was having conversations. And so as a result, y'all, I remember I got a client who was 62 years old on the couch with me, and she says, Dr. Adrienne, I don't know if I've ever had an orgasm. Oh. And I said, ma'am, if you got to think about it, you ain't had one. And I just thought that was such a sad testimony that
I don't want that to be my testimony.
if you know your own body, it does not have to be. But it's being able to have conversations with men to talk about what your needs are. And I think that as women, we've not been conditioned to be empowered to be comfortable and do that.
I'll never forget one of my passion in poetries. I was hosting and I was looking out at the audience, and there were couples of people, but they didn't look like they were together. Mm-hmm. And so what I did, and I used to do love and relationships on V back then, and I told the man and the woman, I said, whisper something that you want tonight in their ear. Ooh, I said, I want you to tell her, and I want I want for her to tell you. Mm-hmm. And I said, whisper in their ear and tell them what you want. And I said, Joyce Littell said, you better do it. So this was a Saturday night, sold out crowd at Center Stage. Sunday, my producer back then, Candace, and I had a show ready to go. Dr. Adrienne, the phones lit up from the very time I opened up the mic, and all the men and some women, but the majority of the night were men thanking me for telling the women to do what they did. Yeah. And there were women that called who had gone to the show to say thank you, Miss Littell, for telling us it's okay to ask for what you want. Yeah. Because I know from a psychological standpoint, if you don't get what you actually want at that moment, no matter how good he thought, right? If it ain't what you want, right? You are not satisfied. You getting up disappointed. And the cool thing that I learned from people such as Dr. Adrienne, because I was uncomfortable talking about it to my mom. I talked about it to my grandmother, but I was extremely uncomfortable for talking about it to my mom. But what they were all saying, and what I've experienced myself, is that if you coming in and you know it's going to be a moment, it's okay to say, nah, not that right now. I want that right there. Right. Can you do this right here? And everybody in the space is satisfied. Yeah. Because you can openly say what you want.
But we are all a product of our upbringing and our experiences. Yeah. And so if you've been conditioned to keep secrets, which most black people have been, don't be going out here talking about what's going on in this house, you're not comfortable having certain conversations. Right. And so as we have this conversation about mental health for Mental Health Awareness Month, and you think back about your childhood, or think about the fact that these conversations weren't really being had prior to the pandemic. We were not normalizing therapy. So I keep a full couch, but I have had a very diverse group of clients. I have more black clients now than I've ever had, the ones that I'm willing to take, because I don't have time for all that. But I am glad that we are now in a space where we are starting to have these conversations. And so I want everybody to, for a moment, just tell me something that you wish that people knew in terms of mental health.
if you had a magic wand and you could make a change in the world, in the workplace, in churches, in organizations, in terms of mental health, what would your advice be to somebody?
It's okay to be honest.
It's okay to be honest.
I don't know if it's advice, but the mental health journey that you're on is, or the healing journey within mental health never stops.
It
Never
absolutely
stops. So
until
even
the day you die.
right. So even when you feel like, oh, I finally overcame this one thing, you have to go through another thing, and you have to figure out how to get through that and use the mental health tools that you know, as far as like in a journal, meditating, praying, you know, gratitude,
Going to the couch.
going to the couch, going to therapy, you know, whatever it is that helps you, you just have to continue to remember those tools so
Yeah.
that you can get over the next situation that comes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, everybody got to answer this one, so y'all better be thinking.
I would like to especially speak from the Caribbean community. Don't hold the secrets.
Oh,
Release
yes.
the secrets. It doesn't matter if the secret was from great grandmother. Release the secrets, because that's the only way you're gonna heal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever watched the series Black Cake.
Yes.
That-
Oh my God, it's amazing.
So let me tell you that is
it's an amazing show.
it may be a wrote for fiction, but there are a lot of stories that we as children hear after our parents or our great grandparents have passed away.
Yeah.
That X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C.
Yeah,
So I would definitely say release the secrets. Yes, God can take care, because they always take everything to
God.
God. Yes, God can take care of it, but you have to release it. That's the only way we become a better example of you all.
But I think that's where the honesty comes in. And you got to be honest about your experiences in life. And if you don't be honest with you, you know, that's going to help direct your path, then you're just wasting your time and somebody else's. So you've really got to, whatever you experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, indifferent, you have to be honest about it and say, this is what I went through. This is what I'm going through now. So you can seek the help.
Yeah.
I would say recognizing that you have past traumas and stuff that have shaped how, you know, who you are now and all that, it doesn't make you weak to address those things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something with specifically black men, but I feel like black women have that too, because I know I was a person that was like, oh, I'm not gonna cry and I'm not gonna, like, I always had to have this hard exterior, like ever since I was little. I don't know where, I probably need to think about that, where did I get that from? But even like when I was little, broke my arm, snapped my arm in half and did not cry, like, oh, I'm not gonna cry in front of these people, like they ain't gonna see
What's
that
your
I'm
birthday?
weak. Aquarius. So just recognizing that, you know, working on your mental and, you know, just trying to be a better person doesn't make you weak.
Yeah.
I'm a church kid, so like transparency in Christianity is a hard thing, especially when you're labeled. So I would tell people, don't worry about the labels.
Yeah.
They're gonna label you either way. I was like, if I go to therapy, they're gonna label me crazy.
Yeah.
They're gonna label. They're gonna. Can I go and come on your
Listen,
couch?
But I love to tell them when they sit down and say, Dr. Adrienne, I'm not crazy. I said, that's good, because I don't do crazy. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yes, I just think the labels. I wouldn't go to therapy for the longest because I worked in corporate America. We had background checks. I was like, oh, they're gonna label me crazy. I'm gonna lose my job. But not realizing going to therapy was the best
thing.
It's the reason I'm become married. If you're watching right now, I was looking at you.
I'm going to need you to get them 31 prayers for my future husband. I done told you about that book. 31 prayers for my future husband. I need y'all to get that book. Yeah.
Well, my advice would be consistent. One day of therapy is not enough.
No, it's not.
You got to do the work and show up consistently, and be careful who you talk to.
Absolutely.
You can't talk to everybody.
Everybody can't handle your stuff. And that's what people don't recognize. Everybody is not built and equipped to handle your traumas and your stuff. And so that's why you go and find a real therapist, not somebody who paid $25 for a coaching certification. But anyway, because it's different. It's different.
I have a question. I have a question for you.
Okay.
And it might veer this thing off, but I'm not going to let this moment pass without asking, how do you deal with people or a person who are attempting to make you into some person that you are not. I'm serious about this because it becomes a struggle, and that's a piece of a struggle that I don't want to continue to have to struggle with.
Yeah.
Into convincing someone that you're not trying to make me into this person that I'm not. So, Dr. Adrienne, how how do you handle that?
So I have to start off by saying it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. And I know that sounds so simplistic, but it's true. And so depending on your personality, what you've been taught and told throughout your entire life, y'all, when we were born, we were just like that white wall over there. We didn't have a thought. Everything you got came from somewhere. And so for some people, they have been told these things that make them feel like they got to accommodate and appease and please everybody. But then there are others of us, and depending on your personality, Aries personality raised with a Leo daddy and a Libra mama, bless her little heart, bless her heart. But a daddy who told me, damn what niggas say about you, I did not mean to say that. You're going to have to edit that out, Leo. Yeah.
So repeat it, but don't
All
say
righty. My father said, forget what people say about you. It's not what people, because somebody's going to always talk about you. Somebody's going to always say you didn't do enough, you're not good enough, you need to do more, how can you do better? But at the end of the day, it's how you see yourself, not how everybody else sees you. And so we have to start to look at ourselves and say, I'm the measuring stick for me. Somebody out there going to be disappointed. But I would rather you be disappointed in me than me be disappointed in me. And sometimes it's as simple as recognizing that folk have their own unresolved stuff that they have not dealt with. And so they're going to try to project that onto you to make you feel bad, to make you feel less than. And so you have to say, for my own sanity, for my own mental health, for my own peace, I'm not dealing with this. That's not my issue. And that doesn't even always require a conversation, because sometimes blocking and ignoring is the greatest that you can have. Silence, it speaks volumes very loudly.
What if you can't block and ignore, though? What
Yeah.
if you have to have interaction?
Yeah, so this is the thing. At the end of the day, though, you got to be true to your truths. And so what Desi or Dane, somebody said, I'm not going to allow my character to change based on who it is that you are. And so one of the other valuable things that my dad said was, you got to recognize a fool when you see him. And don't argue with a fool.
One fool at a
We
time.
always talk about these country sayings that we have. And so, so I am not going to argue with you about something that I know is my truth. If I know I'm a good person, if I know that I'm fair, if I know that I am decent and right, the fact that you can't see nothing but ugly in me is your problem. That's not mine. That's not about who I am. That's about them glasses you looking through. And so sometimes you got to just let people be who they are, because I believe that eventually all of the dead skin falls off. Just like when you go and get a pedicure and they sitting there scrubbing your feet and that stuff be coming all, and you like, God dog, I ain't know I had all this dead skin on my feet like this. And that junk started to come off, and then when you rub your feet, they feel brand new. People are the same way. If you wait long enough, all the dead skin will fall away from you. Yeah.
How long is the wait, Lord?
Listen, you know what? And when things feel
And that's my
challenging,
question. How long is the
but
wait?
guess what? When things feel challenging for me, I ask myself two questions. Is this worse than the worst day I've ever had in my life? That's one thing. Because everybody's worst day is their worst day. And I've not had one yet. And I've been homeless. I've been divorced. I done had all kinds of stuff. But the worst day in my life happened 22 years ago. I ain't had one like that since then. So that's one thing. The other thing I think about is, how many years did it take them to cross over after they got past the Red Sea and they was crossing the desert? 40 years. So I always say, oh, okay, I've been in this for 2 years. I've got 38 more. I'm just saying.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
mindset.
You're right.
And we don't talk about patience because you only develop patience through trial and tribulation.
Right.
You got to ask for tolerance to deal with what you're dealing with. And I know that sometimes showing up and being who you are is difficult when you feel like somebody is testing you. It can feel like that. But sometimes
I gained strength and energy and empowerment for, I'm going to show you how to act, because clearly nobody taught you. I ain't got to say it. I'm just going to demonstrate it, because everybody wasn't raised by
The
Miss
same
Little.
way. Yeah.
They weren't raised by the Littles up there in Athens, Georgia.
Right.
And so I think one of the hardest things is when people don't even know they're being unkind.
Right.
They don't
and
know.
that's the sad part.
But guess what? It's because they miserable and they need some. I'm just saying it would be helpful. I ain't say it. I just said. I implied it would be helpful.
So I got a piggyback question off of what you, the question that you asked, Miss Joyce. Because what if I'm not trying to change you.
Yes.
You coming to me for advice, and I'm trying to help you become the best version of you.
Not your
But
responsibility.
sometimes you have to stop doing this because everybody in your circle is saying the same thing about you.
Not
And
your responsibility. And so guess what's going to happen? Just like that dead skin, that person eventually won't be there. Because if everybody starts to make the same assessment and says, yeah, no, I'm going to fall back. Yeah, no, I'm going to fall back. Yeah, no, I'm going to fall back. Eventually, that person's going to be standing right there by themselves. One of the hardest things that we do is we want people to change more than they want to change. And so we have to get past that. I had a conversation yesterday with an amazing pastor, and when I said to him, I said, your responsibility as the pastor is to deliver the word. He said, but I want them to get it. I said, that's not your responsibility. He said, I never thought about that like that. I said, no. People have to ask for clarity. If I need something from you, I got to ask. Once you've given me all you have to give, your responsibility has ended.
Remix again.
Yeah.
Because it happens so often. It's like I have given you everything that you need to succeed into what you're asking about.
So now I'm about to really tell you something.
Tell me something.
So if as a child, a person's parents have not given to them, and they and so they've had to
You better preach that.
and they've had to figure
How long
life
this
out.
show?
This is part one. This is part one.
Gotta be. Gotta be.
But when a person's parents have not given to them, because all they can give is what they can give, right?
Right.
But if the person's perception is that, well, my parents didn't give me this and they didn't give me that, but I've still been able to maneuver through life and I've arrived, they don't know what to ask for. That's why they can't have successful romantic relationships. That's why they don't have successful relationships with their children. They don't have friendships because they don't know to ask, because they weren't properly poured into by the people who should have been giving it to them.
Yeah.
When you don't get that at home,
Yeah.
then you are wandering until you have a light bulb moment that says, I got to do something different. Most people live and die the same way. They don't have that light bulb moment.
Wow. Whew, okay.
That was
All right.
But getting back into like what you were saying earlier, I've dealt with that before in my career and just life. I was a person who, I wanted to do the right thing, and I always had to get the gold star. I got to get all A's or whatever to make these people happy and to make these people like me. And then I got to a point to where it was like, okay, you're doing all the right things, but stuff still isn't working. You still got fired. You still got dumped or whatever. And so I started, anybody needs a tool, I started doing affirmations. And
Absolutely.
so I'll look in the mirror and I tell myself what I know I am.
That's right.
Until, even if I don't believe it, I'm telling
Until you
myself,
believe it.
this is what I know
That's
I
right.
am. I know
That's
I'm
right.
smart. I know I'm this. I know I'm that. And then literally, I give whatever the issue is to God.
That's
right. And so then after I do that, I don't even know how it happens, but you get to a point in your mind where it's like, I genuinely don't give a
Right. Right. Don't
and
care
everybody
anymore.
that
Yeah.
works with me on View 103 will tell you, I don't give
Right,
I don't
right,
care.
right.
And that's not that I don't care, like I don't care to do a good job, or I don't care to still try to
It's
be the best.
I don't care to manage your issues.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't care. Like
right.
whatever you may be putting on me, or whatever this person is putting on me, I don't care.
Right,
And
right.
even sometimes in my romantic relationships, because I'll just be like,
Okay,
That's
like, and
an
then
Aquarius
that's
thing.
jarring for people.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah.
But so I think that's like a tool that at least I've used, affirmations, and then literally giving whatever the thing is to God,
Yeah.
and then every single time I've done that, it works out.
Yeah.
But I think when you're in position and you are asked or tried to be told, or and you know that you are in that position, then you're responding because you're in that position.
Yeah.
That it's because I can do that same thing. Like, I ain't gonna deal with that right now. But when you're in position of some form of authority, then you are in that position to answer.
Right. You have a responsibility as a leader, but here's the thing. The greatest leaders, which you are a great leader, because you do provide the support, you do provide the tools. And so when you have this many people talking about how supportive you are, and you have somebody else who may not feel the same way, it may sound arrogant to say, I got to step back and say, you know what, those are your issues. But sometimes it really is that. And so no matter how hard you wish and will a person to be better and to be different, they're just not going to be because they don't want to be. And so you have to make the decision and say, you know what, I'm not going to let your ugly spirit infect me. At the end of the day, I'm going to ask myself, was I my best self today? There are days when we mess up. We on 285, we flicking folk off, we cussing folk out. That would be me.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Every time.
But then, at the end of the day, if you truly assess the things about you that make you, that you feel like to your core are your best traits and characteristics, if you were those things, nothing else matters. Like nothing else matters. And like the dead skin, eventually you're going to get enough pedicures and all the dead skin going to fall off.
That's true.
All the dead
I've experienced that. That's true.
all the dead skin going to fall. Well, listen, y'all, we got to come back and do this again. Seriously.
I feel like this is good.
We gotta come back and
I feel better.
Yeah.
I want to open up some more stuff.
Listen.
Yeah.
So this is part. We're gonna make this part one because
Right.
I think that what's important is that as women, we have to continue to come together
Right.
and support and celebrate each other because we got enough of the world outside of these doors where that does not happen. And so we don't need to be fighting against each other. We got to be locking arms together as we continue to fight against so many things. And so this mental health piece is only a small portion of it, and it's just something that I'm so passionate about. And so I appreciate you all for taking the time to be here with me. For Mind Matters with Dr. Adrienne, you all stay tuned because for Mental Health Awareness Month, let me tell you something. I'm about to blow the lid off some stuff and free some slaves because we're going to talk about some stuff that folk don't want to talk about. It's going to get uncomfortable, but hopefully people are going to grow from it. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.